All right, I want to show you some very basic Photoshop editing things that you can use for your portrait project, and I want you to be able to use these for your portrait project. We're just going to do some really light editing to adjust things like the exposure, the overall value, the lights, midtones and shadows, or highlights, midtones and shadow areas, and some color correction. So the first thing that you want to do is open an image in Photoshop. So I just double clicked that and it's going to open in Photoshop for me. Or you can click and drag the image over the icon, not into the window. Don't open Photoshop first and open and drag the file into this window. You want to drag it over the icon at the bottom. Okay, so once I have my image open, I'm just going to make this a little bigger. And I'm going to hit Command 0 to fill, to put the picture as big as it will go in the frame. And all I want you to do is play around with the different image adjustments. So image adjustments, and really just some of these top 4 or 5 things. So brightness and contrast. I'm going to move my window over here. Just you can see what that does. It just makes it really, really bright. You don't want it blown out like that. You don't want it too dark. You're just adjusting for subtle variations just to make it look a little bit better than it did in the original, with the original image. I'm looking at the hair, like that looks a little, could look a little fuzzy to me. You know, that's a little too dark. I think I like a little bit more contrast. Just play around with these sliders and kind of see what they do. If you like it, click OK. If you don't, hit cancel and it will go back to the original image. Another one is levels. So the levels, I've got 3 sliders. I've got this is my shadows. So if I slide that over, my shadows get much darker. I've got my midtones. And I've got my highlights. I'm going to just kind of pump those highlights up a little bit. Not too much though, because again, you'll get blown out. And then just kind of play with my midtones here. I want to be able to see her hair a little bit better. Okay, but I don't want to make it too bright. So I'm just trying to find that balance. All right, that looks pretty good. I'm going to say, all right, okay. And then adjustments, curves do very similar things to levels. So it just kind of depends on how you want to play around with it, but you can kind of see how, you know, playing around with that can give you different effects. Usually with curves, you want to have kind of an S curve like this. Okay, something like that. You also can do adjustments with exposure. So again, just blowing that out a whole lot or making it really, really dark to where it's black. All right, I don't really use exposure a whole lot, but there might be a reason why you might want to use that. I'm going to hit cancel. Adjustments, hue and saturation. I don't really play around with with the hue. You can, if it looks a little yellow, like for example, if you're photographing inside where you have fluorescent lighting, it might look a little yellow. So you might want to counteract that yellow by just putting it a little bit in the blue, make it a little bit bluer. And then you can also increase the saturation. You know, that blows the color up really, really bright. You know, that looks pretty strange. But it's not usually a bad idea to just make your color a tiny bit brighter, just to make it pop a little bit, you know, without getting those weird like neon glow effects. I don't really like that. Okay, all right, I like that. And then the last one I'll do is image adjustments and color balance. And this does a similar thing to the hue, where if it's a little bit on the blue side, I can add red to make it less blue. It works with complementary colors. So remember your color wheel. If it's a little bit on the red side, I can counteract that by adding some cyan. Or same thing if it looks a little green. This would just be because of the lighting that you have. You know, you might want to adjust the color balance a little bit. Usually it's going to probably be this yellow and blue, because natural lighting tends to be blue and artificial lighting can sometimes be kind of yellow. So you don't want your subject's skin to look yellow or blue. That's not a good look. So you're going to make them look sick. All right, so you might want to just counterbalance that and make the skin tones look a little bit more natural, more accurate to whoever your subject is. Okay, so that's all there is to that. I just want you to do some very basic image adjustments and really just brightness and contrast, levels, curves, vibrant or hue and saturation, and color balance. Feel free to play with any of the rest of these, but those are really just the basic ones to help you color correct and get the right tonality. Okay, play around with that stuff and have fun shooting, guys. Thank you.